So we've been really focused on the rule since the very beginning, when the rule was first proposed in 2010, both from an advocacy perspective and looking at it from an operational perspective. Well, I think a lot of what we are working on now as we are reviewing the rule is trying to determine, the new processes and the new procedures that will need to be put into place. Our goal really is to do everything we can to support our advisors as they transition into this new environment.
In order to help our advisors, we've taken a multi-pronged approach that starts with awareness, moves to preparedness, process, and then execution.
It goes back to 2011 that we were first involved with trying to help the Department of Labor understand the negative impacts that we foresaw.
We've been very active down on Capitol Hill, as you said, testifying, meeting with members of Congress. I testified before the DOL.
So if you look at the rule when it was reproposed in April of 2015, and you look at the rule that was finalized just last month, yes, there have been really good compromises and good changes in there. I think, from LPL's perspective, we've been very focused on trying to minimize disruption for our advisors and trying to preserve choice. And I think in many ways, the changes that the DOL made to their proposal did a little of both.
In some cases, we've seen that as the final rule has been proposed, but we knew that we were going to get a rule, so the second thing we did was really start to prepare, and really did a scenario-based way to prepare. What that really meant for our advisors is we were able to answer some questions even before the final rule, and they could start to evaluate their practice, they could start to evaluate their clients, and really determine how big a deal this might be for them.
Our approach from the beginning is to educate, really from the first moment that this proposal hit the press.
It really started with 10,000-foot understanding about what the rule or the proposed rule was, what it was intended to do, and then more importantly, the downstream impacts to not only the industry, but to Janney Montgomery Scott, our advisors, and potentially our clients.
Right now, it's a good opportunity to really understand what the rule is, to take stock of your business, to make sure you don't do anything that's premature or do anything that later on you might regret or even have to reverse. But there are things that the advisors can and are doing. A lot of it is to make sure that they've carved out enough time to take care of their clients, to understand what implications they have to their staff, and also to ensure that they've taken a good look at what changes they might need to do to their products, services, and even the value proposition that they offer to investors.
Really, it's from that sort of altitude that you start executing down through different mediums, whether it's conferences, regularly scheduled conference calls that happen with my Managed Solutions group, or it's just the blocking and tackling in the branches as it relates to making them understand what the rule is going to do to their business. A lot of one-on-one coaching. We have a great group of home office people that have been involved in this from the beginning. They're very well known and very visible in the branch system. And we've gone really on an offensive mode from the home office, engaging the branches and in turn the FAs in those branches on an individual level, looking at their book of business, understanding its impacts, understanding what paths are most suitable for clients if the rule.
Not a lot of financial advisors completely and fully understand how this is going to impact them, and they're frankly delighted when they sit down with us about the level of preparation, the communication.
The average advisor at Janney has 125 brokerage IRA accounts that they need to execute on as it relates to transitioning to a safe haven within the DOL rule.
We have sat down with that financial advisor and said, listen, you need to think about this, you need to move on this, take those actions today. Don't wait, another year or 18 months when we have fewer choices and the client has fewer choices to do something.
An example of an advisor that I recently worked with is an advisor who has a pretty wide swath of fixed income in his book of business. That particular product set is going to be materially affected as it relates to the DOL. It's historically been transactional. Now he's forced to possibly go into an advisory solution. So for him, it's about educating him on, once again, what that platform, what that space looks like, whether that's an internal or external solution around fixed income, and then really teaching him how to speak to clients about, the difference between what he was doing before and what he needs to do going forward.
Thus far, we haven't implemented new products and services. What you've seen us do is really even before the rule was finalized, is to pre-position some of our platforms, some of our services in a way that we knew would equip advisors with either a way to help more clients with more scale or to do that more efficiently or effectively. So, for example, we lowered some of the pricing with our centrally managed advisory offerings. That allows advisors to still have a fiduciary role, but take advantage of LPL's size and scale.
But to be honest, the one thing that the rule, or the proposed rule exposed is really the lack of a solution for small accounts, which we deem 25,000 and below. You know, we look at our platform is really to have a solution for every type of client, and so this was really a challenge number one for us to design a solution that we believe met the rule, and also would more importantly be attractive to both our clients and our advisors, and we've done that.
A lot of investors have been concerned, go back to the problems at some of the larger firms and banks in 2008, 2009, and have been hesitant to work with a financial advisor, much to their detriment. Many commentators out there have said, watch out for, watch your back. I think this eliminates that concern in the long run, and I think that can be good for the industry.